Good morning. All right, we're here to talk about three-dimensional figures today. And the first thing we're going to look at, first of all, in mathematics, they're called geometric solids. And there are some parts to these that you need to understand. So there is a drawing there. I also have a shape in my hand that I'll use. A three-dimensional figure does not all lie in the same plane. That's really its definition. And it is made up of several faces. The faces are all the flat sides. So this is a face. This is a face. Okay. For our purposes, all of these faces, okay, when they meet, that's called an edge. So here's an edge, here's an edge, here's an edge, okay? And another vocabulary word is vertex. Of course, that's the point where they meet. So the plural is vertices. This has several vertices on it. Okay? So the first thing that we're going to talk about, the first shape, three-dimensional shape, is a prism. A prism is a three-dimensional shape that has two parallel and congruent faces called bases. So in my shape right here, it has a triangle on each side here, and all the other faces are rectangles. So this is a prism. A prism is identified by the base. So not only does it have a base that's a triangle, this would then be called a triangular prism. Here's another example of a prism. This would be a prism. We have rectangles as faces, and we have square as a base. So this would be a square prism because it has bases that are squares and the other faces are all rectangles. As you can see from the drawings on the slide, this would be also, this is very similar to the one I just showed you. It would be okay to call this a square prism. It's also, since squares are rectangles, okay to call it a rectangular prism. I just showed you with the first shape that I showed you was a triangular prism. Here's another example of one. This one would be a pentagonal prism because this back and this front are pentagons and all the other sides are rectangles. When you have a prism that has squares on every side, it has its own name, and that would be cube. It is a cube. All right, let's look at our next type of three-dimensional shape, which is a pyramid. A pyramid is a three-dimensional figure with triangular faces that meet at one point. Okay, here's an example of a pyramid. It would have just one base, and all the other faces are triangles. So you can see triangle, 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 triangle. Here's the base. It's a square. So this is a square pyramid because once again, the shape is named by its base. Square pyramid. This would be, there's triangle face, triangle face, triangle face, and a triangle base. So this is a triangular prism. I'm sorry, pyramid. Triangular pyramid. Then for our last set of three-dimensional shapes, we are looking at the curved solids. So we have the cylinder, The cylinder has two parallel bases that are circles. The height is that perpendicular distance between them, and that's a cylinder. For a cone, it has one circular base, and it meets up at the tip. Sometimes people get on a roll with those prisms and they start calling this a circular pyramid, but it is a cone. And then when we have a circle that is three-dimensional, equal set of points all in space, equidistant from that center, a sphere. All right, so you're going to be looking for how to name these and how to draw them. And I have some tips for that if you have trouble. All right, let's do some practice.